In the past 2 years of my life, I have read over 50 books, as well as written 2 of my own. In this period, however, this particular moment of time, I have not only been reading way more than I ever begun, but I've also started writing way more. And this is all through the simple process of reading more books. In this video, I'm going to talk about how that experience of not only reading way more books in the month of August changed me, but it also allowed me to think more clear and more effective in all the life choices I make moving forward. Hello! If you don't know me, I'm Arnel Arcega. I'm one of the healthiest writers you will ever encounter. As an author, writer, and motivator on this platform, I make sure people not only stay consistent in reading, but also begin to write their own stories and cultivate a book of their own. If you want to follow the same path as me, you must check out my Instagram down in the link of the description and see what I can do so I can personally help you with your upcoming project. For now, let's build the foundation of said project and let's get into why books matter now more than ever before. In the past month of August, I have read the book The Winner Stands Alone by Paulo Coelho. I talked about him briefly in one of my earliest videos of The Alchemist, and I love that book, but it wasn't until I read this book that shaped the way I think about literature, writing, and books in general in a manner that not only opened my eyes to something greater, but also effectively changed the way I look at my own life. It's a large statement, but it's good to see exactly why this matters. For years, I have read books in the simple context of starting from front to back. As I'm currently reading The Magic of Ordinary Days, I see the process of just starting all the way from the beginning and closing it with the final few pages. It's a simple process, yes, but books in itself go so much further than that specific detail that in the modern age, it's a superpower to not only be reading more books, but it also elevates you above everyone else. For the average person, if you were to ask someone on the street when was the last time they read a book, most would say a year or 2 away. It's either more than a year or something way less, but that's often the anomaly in the search. When we think about how people read books, we often think about the way we view it. It's a matter of seeing information, and we honestly think of them as smarter. That's why in media, we always see the smart kids reading books, and it's always the ones who are staying consistent and staying well. That is true in real life, but there is a twist. Going back to Paulo Coelho's book, it's a story about a man getting vengeful revenge. And spoilers for the end of the book, it ends in a manner that I honestly didn't expect, in which the main character simply just kills everyone, and that's that. It had a very same ending to the way I felt about Squid Game on Netflix, but it also taught me a lot about the way I view reading. The story is told in a third-person omniscient perspective in which we can see every single perspective. We see all the different side characters, all the main characters, and in particular, we learn so much about their past and history that in itself, their stories become the book. They become the full foundation of what's read, and it makes the ending all the more dissatisfying, if I can put it lightly. When I think about that book, I think about my own life and how I read in sparse times, how I read to not only distract myself from specific areas, but I can also gain the knowledge of specific areas that I simply don't know. In a lot of the ways, I'm still young. I don't know much about the world, but what I do know is that there's plenty of books out there. Thousands of books in the world that will not only shape the way we think about certain ideas and topics, but it can also influence our minds and straighten us for a better future, which is why I consider so much about reading and writing, why I consider it to be one of the greatest forms of habits you will ever possibly see, and why you yourself should tell your own story. In the year of 2025, consistency in reading and writing has been insanely difficult. I will be honest, I've only read 3 books fully front to back in the past 2 months. And yet, I felt so effectively well and entranced in these books that I honestly think it's a better sacrifice to take your time spending weeks upon weeks reading one book than to ever scroll on Instagram or TikTok or talk to an AI bot. It sounds counterintuitive, especially when I'm considering the topic of books. Books are an old-fashioned statement. It's good, but it's definitely part of that old era that we don't live in now. With such rises like social media and AI, we see the progressive change in things such as books and reading. And this is important for what I want to say about books and why they matter so much more in this day and age. It's effective in not only teaching us how well we can look at information, but it also is consistent in getting us to the right place. Books have a way of just resisting time. Somehow, some way, in the year of 2025, despite existing for hundreds of years and its purpose vastly changing from storytelling to information to the current age we live in, books have a foundation and a superpower. That superpower is ease. That superpower is balance, and it allows us to not only think about the world way more clearly, but it can also allow us to be more creative and effective in what we want to do with our lives. Let me explain. Books, in staying consistent with books, have an effective means of not only shaping the way we think, but also being more concise and considerate of what we do. It's pretty obvious when we think of that, especially when looking at the calmest people. Those who are in nature, those who do all the healthy habits like exercise and even like eating well and sleeping well. One common thing they all do is read books, no matter what type of book. Mostly, in most cases, it's self-improvement. Likewise, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dave Carnegie. But in those cases, even with fiction books, they are reading. The best people and the most consistent people who want the single best life, this one shot of living we have, read books. They read countless of books. And like me, I want you to be someone who's read over 50 books in the past 2 years. You don't want to be someone who hasn't touched a single book in the past year or two. You don't want to be someone who says reading a book is way too hard. And this is where my own influence can come in. I love being consistent with books because I've learned in the past few weeks that the easiest way to stay consistent on this path is to read the damn book. It sounds super simple, but the easiest way I can explain it is by adapting to your own benefits and adapting more specifically to the best possible life you want to live. You have the choice to make up anything you want. You have the choice to scroll on your phone or pick up the book. One of those two will always be your option. And how I look at books now, especially when reading a book like The Winner Stands Alone, is to break it down in chunks. Books are a lot, especially when we think about the huge contrast between something like this book here and TikTok. One is super fast. It's a super fast way of getting across information, while the other, like this video, is a lot more slower and a lot more slow paced. There's a reason why I don't do huge edits, but I do talk about a lot of information. As much as I yap about books, how I still am within the youth of this generation, I can use my own youthful energy to elevate books to a higher level and realize that for us to be better humans and to be more kind and considerate of everything we do, this is where it all starts. Fictional, non-fictional, you need to start reading some kind of book. Or if you want to be more literal, check out my personal books down in the link in the description to see exactly what I mean. Either way, these cases of just picking up a book, whether it's self-improvement, non-fiction, or fiction, allowing your mind to take the ease of words will not only test your patience, but will also fulfill every need you want in life. If you want to get better at a skill, read a book about it. Read a book about how to work out, read a book about how to eat well, and read a book how to sleep well. These things, these habits we build, we need to use that and then use videos like these to encourage people to not only do that, but to spread the word around all parts of the world. We all come up as a society in that we need to just stay consistent. We want to get better at things, 1% better each and every day. But I don't advise that. I believe you are better. And if I'm standing up way above here, I need to bring you up to the same level as me. I will always keep on shooting higher, which is why I continue growing. But that's the most important aspect of why books matter now more than ever before. In a fast-moving world, we need to slow down. And this is the single easiest way to slow down. These books will change the way we think about life. And they will not only give us message from a different time period, but will also give us an ascension, an ascensive piece to not only getting across certain things better, but an incentive in making sure we can improve on our lives, not just 1% better, not just 2% better, but 100% better every single day. So if you want to start this path of staying consistent on books and staying consistent on the path of both reading and writing, remember that. Then you could check out my Instagram down below, as well as the other videos that will continue moving you forward. I hope you can enjoy this message of not only staying consistent on books. I want to elevate you on a different perspective of books and what I've learned about in the past few weeks, break it down to chunks, and learn from the best of the best. Until next time, keep on reading, keep on writing, and take care.